Hello everyone, I'm Savina. I am from Cyprus. I'm an architect diploma and a master's degree in interaction design holder. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being able to attend the conference live. Today, I will present to you my thesis, which is about public participation in urban design process through interactive procedures. It examines perceptions, attitudes, and reactions towards participatory design through interactive technologies. In the last decade, there was a rapid and uncontrolled construction to the seafront of Limassol, but also inside the city. The urbanization and the arrival of numerous investors changed the socio-economic conditions which shaped the city. At the moment, citizens are passive observers and are forced to accept all the changes in the city without any participation in the transformation of it. Therefore, I recognize the need for the public's participation in the various changes in the city. In recent years, the impact of technology affects people's way of living, working, communicating, and their interaction between them and their environment. For this reason, I use interactive technologies as means for people to participate in urban design. The purpose of this survey is to examine the public's participation attitudes through interactive procedures for city matters. In other words, I want to identify how the participants perceive their involvement in urban design and if this could be something that will be embraced by citizens. I would also like to examine attitudes and perceptions so that this could be taken into account by the urban design team and embrace participatory design. Therefore, my main research question was how do participants perceive their involvement in urban design through some interactive procedures? In order to be able to answer these questions, I created 3 sub-questions. What are the participants' thoughts and reactions when facing other existing interactive interventions in public spaces? How do participants perceive their involvement in the development or reactivating a specific urban void? And what was the participants' attitude towards the interactive techniques? In addition, in order to be able to properly frame the research questions, I had to define what urban design, interaction design, and participatory design is. In few words, urban design is the design of an urban scenery. Interaction design is the design of interactive digital or physical products and focuses on how the users will interact with it. Participatory design is an approach to design by actively involving the user and not only the designer. Through the literature review, I demonstrated how the urban design and interaction design are combined and also the significance of public participation in urban design. Also, I mentioned 3 existing interventions in the public space. The Pokemon Go and the projection mapping that are both augmented reality applications and the Highline Park that it used to be an urban void that was reactivated through participatory design. At the end, I define what an urban void is, because I use it as a task in my case study afterwards. In simple words, an urban void is an unused or abandoned building or open space in the city. The methodology I used was qualitative research and case study because I examined thoughts and perceptions of a group for a specific process. Also, I chose my participants with the non-probability technique because it was easy for me to access them. The sample size was 80 individuals. I used the what people do, say, make techniques to collect data. At the end, I analyzed the data I collected, used the 6 steps of template analysis, and generated some major themes. My qualitative research was divided in 3 parts. On the first one, participants interacted with 3 existing interventions in public spaces in order to perceive the city scenery in a different way and realize that anything can affect their urban experience. On the second part, participants participated in the reactivation of an urban void through interactive procedures. On the third part, I evaluated their experience regarding the whole procedure. I evaluate their experiences using the think aloud technique and the contextual ladder interviewing technique. To answer the first question, what are the participants' thoughts and reactions when facing other existing interactive interventions in public spaces? I provided 3 different interactions that were related with the public space. The first interaction was Pokemon Go, which is an augmented reality game that was very popular in the last few years. I provided each participant with my phone and let them play freely in the city. Participants had to catch a Pokemon going around the streets and at the same time describe to me what he or she was thinking about their experience. The second interaction was to attend a projection mapping event and think aloud. I taped all their thoughts and I asked them questions in order they provide more details. Projection mapping is images that are usually projected in building facades using digital light projectors. For the third interaction, I presented to them the Highline Park and explained to them what an urban void is. Afterwards, they watched 2 YouTube videos about the Highline Park. Highline Park is in New York and it used to be abandoned train rails, but through participatory design, it was reused as a park in between the skyscrapers. Participants again had to tell me their opinion about the intervention. To answer the second question, how do participants perceive their involvement in the development of reactivating a specific urban void? Participants experience a realistic example of participation for a design in a specific urban void of their neighborhood. Just to be understandable by everyone, reactivation is the process of making something active again. In this case, participants, through different interactive techniques, provided their thoughts and needs about the reuse of the specific public space. The 3 techniques that were used were card sorting, KIDSPIRATION software, and open-ended questions. In the card sorting technique, I provided the participants with 5 different categories of simple icon cards and I asked them to order the cards according to their priorities. The categories were about the target audience, the usability, accessibility, physical elements, and conceptual elements. In the next slides, we can see the results of card sorting. The results were not further examined, as this was not the purpose of this thesis. In the photo, you can see the KIDSPIRATION software interface and a current photo of the urban void of the study. Participants used this software and created a personal collage of how they imagined a specific field. In the next slides, you can see the final collages. Also here, the results were not further examined as this was not the purpose of this thesis. The last session was 15 open-ended questions. The first 10 questions were about the reuse of the urban void. The last 5 questions were about their thoughts on their participation in the design of the specific part of their city. As you can see, the third research question was what was the participants' attitude towards the interactive techniques. Thus, I interviewed them individually. I asked the participants why questions as an interview method of contextual laddering, until he or she provided the answer that would help me to come to conclusions. The questions mostly referred to the interactive procedures used, which were Pokemon Go, projection mapping, card sorting, KIDSPIRATION, and interviews. Now let's see the findings and the results. Participants' first impressions regarding the Pokemon Go game were mostly negative. Some young participants said that at first it was interesting, but afterwards it got boring. Also, it was very difficult for the oldest participant. In regards to the usability of the application, all of them were unsatisfied because it was useless, as they said. They focused on the screen and not on their city. In contrast, participants were all impressed when they first met the projection mapping. They found it very interesting and enjoyable because it didn't require any specific skill. In regards to the usability, they all agreed that it could easily be a part of the urban scenery. Because of the projection mapping, participants were motivated and expressed ideas about the urban scenery transformation. Participants were impressed with the Highline Park as well. They all evaluate the park as a successful intervention because it completes its purpose. It is a green paradise inside the concrete city. Also, some of them imagined Limassol having a park like that and were motivated to take part in the design process. Through the task and the interviews about their participation in using the urban void, participants transformed their needs into ideas on how this part of the city should be designed. They shared their ideas and enriched the design by using interactive techniques. According to all participants, the public should participate in urban design. Also, according to them, public participation promotes communal responsibility to the citizens. They were all positive to being involved in real participatory design, and some of them characterized this as a challenging and creative procedure. I sum up the findings of the user experience evaluation in diagrams. The first one shows a positive or negative reaction of the participants. Only Pokemon Go and KIDSPIRATION applications had negative reaction by some participants. The next one shows the participants' favored interactive method. Interviews, card sorting, and KIDSPIRATION were the participants' favored methods. According to the findings, all of the methods used were quite user-friendly, except of the Pokemon and KIDSPIRATION that were criticized as less easy by the elder participant. An interesting finding was that all of the participants showed their willingness for further participation in urban design. The majority of the participants stated that they were willing to participate in urban design through technology. However, there was one participant that wanted to participate in urban design, but without the use of technology that requires certain skills and knowledge. Participants had some concerns as well. Some of them were mutual. For example, all of them worried about the impact of their participation, if the urban designers will take into account their thoughts and ideas. Almost everyone stated that another barrier or limitation was time. In their opinion, all the tasks need to be fast and easy. After answering the 3 sub-questions, I was able to come to conclusions about my central research question. All participants had a positive attitude and found the process very interesting. They would support the collaboration between themselves and the architects for the design of their city. Also, most of them found the interactive task fast, easy, and joyful. Only the older participant had difficulties regarding the interaction that involved technology. I believe I had some limitations regarding my methodology. For example, if I had more time, I could involve more participants in my study. Or even better, I could use a quantitative approach for examining more people. Also, another limitation was that my older participant needed my help to complete 2 interactions. Additionally, maybe I could use even more user-friendly interactive techniques in order to be able to compare results. In the future studies, more parties like architects, stakeholders, experts, interaction designers, and not only citizens could be involved. Overall, by doing this research, I strongly believe that people are willing and positive to get involved in participatory procedures through interactive techniques for their city design. Thank you very much for your time and hope you enjoyed my presentation.